Dragon Age Inquisition. Easy on the wallet, but is it worth your time?
We made out with an elf that looks like an egg.
In order to find out.
Here on Broke and Gaming.
Welcome, absolutely everyone, to Broke and Gaming. I'm your host, Shay.
I am your other host, Dan, and we have an absolutely massive game to talk about today, and we've enlisted the help of some friends to do that. So I would like to welcome to the show, for the first time, Aaron, and returning guest, Kelsey. How are you guys doing?
Hi, doing pretty good.
Nice to be back. Thanks
Kelsey,
for having me.
Always a pleasure. So we generally start by asking our guests what they've been playing recently. And Aaron, since this is the first time you've been on, what kind of games are you into and what have you been playing recently?
Oh, well, Dragon Age, playing through that again has gotten me in a nostalgic mood. So I've been playing through a bunch of older games like Monster Hunter World and, strangely enough, modded Terraria, which has been very strange, to say the least, playing that again.
I have tried on multiple occasions to get into Terraria, and I can't do it. There's something overwhelming about it for me.
It is very overwhelming. That's why I'm playing it with someone else, and they're kind of like guiding me through the whole thing. But
oh, that would be nice.
Yeah, even with that, it's still just a whole lot. A lot of searching on wikis. That's what I spend most of my time doing. But
I also played it like early on before, because they've just continuously updated that, right? Like,
they have, yeah. But most of the stuff that they've added has been in kind of the mid game and like not essentially end game. They haven't added anything past Moonlord in years. So
okay,
yeah.
Because that's how old is that game at this point?
I don't even want to look it up because it'll make me feel older than I am.
I'm gonna secretly look it up. Okay, so what kind of stuff are you into generally? Like what do you end up spending your the most amount of your time on?
Most of my time is spent playing single player games, a lot of RPGs, a lot of CRPGs as well.
Okay.
And I used to be into Final Fantasy 14, but I've recently quit that. And it's been a breath of fresh air.
It used to be really scary, like, hearing Aaron raid on Final Fantasy 14, because he would, like, have his work voice on, like, when he was talking to people, he'd be, like, so, I don't know how to explain it, but it was just I was like, are you guys even having fun? Like, I don't know, it's so scary.
Oh, that's so funny. Kelsey, you been playing anything new recently?
New? Absolutely not. But I did start a second, like, playthrough of the Great Ace Attorney games. So I've been playing through that. Pushed through the mystery where you have to solve that guy's death. That is always, like, really awful to play through. So I'm, like, now in the part of the game that I actually like.
The one where he tripped over the cat?
Yeah, where he tripped over the cat and broke his neck, quote unquote. But it's so crazy because it's such a, like, emotional, like, it's the death of, like, your main character's, like, best friend, so it's highly emotional, but also they have a period where they're like, I think he just tripped over a cat and broke his neck and that's how he died, and I'm like, whatever. I've also been playing a ton of Three Hopes, which is, like, the Warriors Fire Emblem game that has the Three Houses characters in it. It's not really like Fire Emblem, but it's, like, got the same people in it, but I've been playing a lot of that. Very easy to, like, grind while I'm listening to podcasts or something.
Yeah.
A real easy game to turn your brain off on.
Oh yeah, just click that shit off. You must.
Yeah, I've been playing a game like that recently, but we'll get into that in our next episode. Shay, anything big you've been playing recently before we get to the meat of this?
Just move past it. I left my notebook behind a bunch of things, so.
All right, fair enough. Well, then, in that case, because, as I said, this is a huge, huge game to discuss today, we will get right into it, and we will start, as we always start, with our short change history. Today we're talking about Dragon Age Inquisition, which is a 2014 semi-open-world action RPG developed by BioWare and published by Electronic Arts. BioWare was founded by 3 Canadian medical school graduates, Raymond Musica, Greg Zeschuk, and Augustine Yip. The 3 had created a medical simulation program together and played video games recreationally. They decided to pool their resources in order to found their own studio and officially incorporated in 1995. They found early success with the Baldur's Gate series, set in the Dungeons & Dragons campaign setting of the Forgotten Realms, and later developed Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. Just before releasing Mass Effect, BioWare was acquired by Electronic Arts, and it remains a subsidiary to this day. Dragon Age was the next franchise BioWare released after Mass Effect. Inquisition is the third installment of the Dragon Age series, and although the follow-up, Dragon Age Dreadwolf, was announced in 2018, a release date has not yet been confirmed as of the recording of this episode. Dragon Age Inquisition is currently available for Xbox, PlayStation, and PC platforms. Aaron, as the new guest, would you mind telling us a little bit about what this game is actually about?
This game follows a character that you create who ends up becoming someone known as the Inquisitor. And you take head of a giant, somewhat religious organization that is trying to stop a villain known as Corypheus. And this entire time you kind of run this organization which spans across both the two continents in the game, which are Ferelden and Orlais, and you just kind of have your hands in a bunch of pies, really guiding a lot of the modern day events that are going on and really driving everything towards this one goal of stopping Corypheus from how do I want to put it? I don't want to spoil too much. How much do you
we're gonna spoil the living fuck out of this. Don't even sweat it.
That's good to know. But yeah, essentially stopping Corypheus from taking over Thedas.
I think that pretty much sums it up. Great job, Aaron. That was
that's a good summary for this game.
That was excellent. All right, so Kelsey, did you play this at all yourself, or were you just
I was
an
more
onlooker?
Like spectating Aaron's game, and yeah, just spectating, I would say.
Okay.
I did not play it. So also, by the way, I didn't, just to get out ahead of this, I didn't rate it either. I do have like some pros and cons, but like I didn't rate it because I didn't play it.
That's perfectly fine. Yeah, no, that'll work out fine. Actually, what's funny is this is like a party-based RPG, and like kind of accidentally, we ended up with a party of 4 to talk about the game.
Oh, hey.
That
Which
works out.
works out.
Okay, wait, which of the
max.
characters do you all feel like you're most aligned with in the party?
Oh, Lord.
Let's like
man, the
pick right
podcast
now.
has now become a BuzzFeed
Yeah, it's a
quiz.
BuzzFeed
quiz.
I had a hard time connecting with almost any of the characters. Because like so many of them are just kind of vanilla filler in a lot of cases. Like I know that they do get in more depth and you do things that are more specific to characters, but I struggled with this. I struggled with it the first time I played it. I struggled with it now. I don't know what the disconnect is for me because I like stuff that's set in a fantasy setting. I like stuff that's party based. There's almost no reason I shouldn't be as off put by this as I am, but it just is what it is. I don't know. Shay, what's your answer to that? Who are you in
I
the
would
party?
really love to say that the answer is Dorian.
Dorian,
but,
I was gonna say Dorian.
I could not approach His Majesty. And to be honest with you, I'm probably more like Vivian.
Oh,
than
that's a slay.
anybody
Are you
else.
kidding? Oh yeah, I could never be
Just-
Dorian. I'm just Vivian. Are you serious?
just kind
Couldn't
of
approach
I
Dorian
love
like
her.
Vivian.
Yeah, but Vivian.
That's, I wish I could
you-
aspire to that level of confidence, honestly.
This is the Vivian hive you're entering. I know.
Well, okay,
I was gonna
so
say I
maybe-
think I'm like a Sarah Sun and a Dorian Moon, and then maybe an Iron Bull Rising is kind of my feel on the matter.
Iron Bull was so close for me because like there were conversations that I would have with him where I would be like, I'm with you on everything that you're saying, and then he'd be like, yeah, and then we just need to like bring in the slaves to do this, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, kind of. Dorian also had some crazy thing that he said earlier
Yes,
today.
no,
that
yep,
was
no,
I was
Dorian
like,
also.
oh, I know what
Dorian
it was. He was
also
like,
has some
we
opinions.
were talking about some guy who moved from being like a slave in, Tevinter or whatever to somewhere else, and he was like, oh yeah, I'm sure he enjoyed all the like freedom of thought that he had when he moved, and I was like, he was a fucking slave before, you psycho. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, there's some
Yeah.
weird ass stuff in this game.
Yeah, one thing that is definitely hard about this game is that they definitely wanted to continue on that kind of dark fantasy that they had already established in the first and the second game, and show all of these characters with these really disparate opinions. But then you get some people like Dorian who you're like, there's no way someone this educated would be thinking some of the things that they think.
Well, this
Yeah.
educated, and Dorian specifically, the life that he has had, I'm like, he would never think this ever, like ever. He would never say something like this.
But then similarly, they have like really awesome characters too. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I liked Cassandra more than I think I was supposed to.
Okay, come on.
Well, it was...
Aaron's a Cassandra head for sure, so you're in good company.
Kelsey was roasting me like super hard on
as soon as Cassandra stepped on the screen, I was like, oh, is this who you fucked the first time you played this game? I was like, this is her, right? She's cool. I like her.
She's just got like a very clear sense of honor about what everybody's supposed to be doing. And as much as it's like a rocky start, like she does kind of fall, not in line necessarily, but like, all right, the Inquisitor knows what they're doing. Like, I believe they have our best intentions at heart. And that also depends on how you play it.
Dog, I never got the impression that Cassandra thought that I knew what I was doing.
And that might just be differences in play style. Like, I don't know. She's
trying to say he's better at this game than I am.
No, not at all. Goodness,
Pay
no.
more attention to Cassandra's voice lines, baby.
Yeah. It did bother me that she looked like Evangeline Lilly. That's the only thing.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
You're right, actually.
Like, especially right now, like with the current haircut, and hopefully not a bunch of theories about
Do you think Cassandra would be
vaccinations.
Anti-vax or no?
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. That's what bothered me. Then the
Get ready for the
movies
Twitter thread. Which of these Dragon Age characters would get vaccinated?
Oh, God. Lord. Okay, so this is, like I said, a party-based game. You have 9 characters that you can recruit over the course of the game. What playstyle did everybody go with? Like, what character build did you guys use?
For this playthrough, Kelsey and I went with a rogue.
Okay.
A dual dagger rogue.
My bad.
Yep.
I like a rogue character.
Me too.
I'm a rogue.
I ended up picking...
We're all rogues, all 3 of you?
Wait, really?
Is that what you guys just said?
Yeah, I was a double dagger rogue as well.
That's so funny.
I was bows and arrows, but I was definitely rogue.
Oh my god.
Wow,
Too
triple
funny.
rogue.
Okay. Rogue party.
It's because I can't trust myself to like be the tank, and I am always too close to be the
for absolute certain
casters.
A mage, no fucking way. I would never want to be a mage in this game.
It's the same when I play any kind of tabletop or like D&D type thing. I can't do mages.
Mm-mm.
Well, Shay and Kelsey are already aware of this, but typically I pick like the sword and board warrior. That was the first play style that I went with. I had wanted to go mage this time around, but then just like as we were creating a character, I was like, you know what? I would never pick rogue normally. Let's just go with it.
If you saw our character's face too, it is a rogue. There is no other way that this person would be anything else.
Amazing.
Did you guys get to the specializations?
Yes.
Which one did you go with?
I ended up picking Tempest. We had wanted to go with Assassin, but then I forgot where to find some of the ingredients for the knife, so I just picked the easy one and picked Tempest.
It's working out. I mean, the difference in skill is like crazy. I really thought that we were over leveled for some stuff or something, but no, it's just the classing is crazy.
Dan, did you get to the
I don't think I did actually. Like I was just blindly leveling up certain things at different points.
I mean, that could be contributing to why you did feel a disconnect with this game.
I mean, that's arguably true. Like I just for full disclosure's sake, I got to the point where you could basically recruit everyone save for like the decision you make between Dorian and Cole. Like I had recruited Dorian, I did not have Cole at that point, and that's basically where I needed to stop.
Oh, okay.
I had everybody else. I was getting really burnt out. Like Shay started playing this way before this episode.
Months ago.
Yeah. Like, and I knew that was going to be the case, but I ended up playing the entirety of Tomb Raider and then a bunch of other stuff that like was on the back burner that I needed to finish, and ended up getting sucked into one, which like again I'll talk about in the next episode, unless we decide to do an episode. I'm not sure yet. But yeah, I went into this knowing I didn't like it the first time around. Like I am a Mass Effect fan, not so much of an Andromeda, so it's not even necessarily like the overall play style or the way that BioWare does their stuff. I think some of the lore in this bothers me. I think it's convoluted for convoluted sake in certain cases. And this does feel like the kind of series where you do need to know a little bit about what's going on going into it. Like, you can drop into this and get a good experience out of it, but because of how deep certain things are in Thetis, which, side note, by the way, do you know what Thetis means?
What is
the
Thetis?
Dragon Age setting?
That is correct, Aaron. It's
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Why make it more complicated? That
yeah. There was a writer that I watched on that was working at BioWare when this was being made, and they full on were just like, they just had it on a whiteboard, I guess, and they're like, why don't we just call it that? Who gives a shit? That sounds like fantasy. Thetis? Fine. Incredible. Shay, did you have a specialization that you went with?
I went with the assassin.
Okay.
Nice,
Is it
nice.
so much better than the fucking whatever we got going on right now? Which is good, by the way. But I was like, well, why don't you go with Assassin? You've been doing that the whole time. And then when I like came back, it was like, yeah, I didn't because I couldn't find the stuff. Fair enough.
I'll be honest with you. My dumbass forgot to put any of my perk points into assassination skills until this morning.
Oh.
Oof.
So I cannot tell you. But the one that I have learned for the assassin is super cool.
Cool.
So I'm looking forward to being an assassin now.
Since we all went rogue, what party members did you go with? Like, typically, like class wise or whatever. Like, I got rid of Eric almost immediately.
Oh, he sucks complete dick. He's terrible.
He's not that bad.
He's not that
just
bad.
Did not, I
Sucks.
never added any of the attachments onto Bianca, so he was a little underpowered compared to everyone else.
Yeah,
and
because
that's
it's
why you
not
see he
fucking
was
worth
worse.
it. That's what I'm saying. Is because
His
he
class
sucks and it's
is
not worth
actually-
building him up.
His class is actually really good.
I mean, the reason I was able to pull him as quickly as I did is since I went bow and arrow, and it makes more sense to put Bianca on him than have him be twin dagger. Like, it just seemed silly to double up on archery.
Mhm.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I ended up, like, I wanted tanks for the most part, so as soon as I had Blackwall, I was doubling Cassandra and Blackwall.
Oh my
And then
gosh.
yeah, I was
Blackwall. Ugh.
I know.
Hated in the nation over here.
He is a very bland.
That is a
character to start
bland
off
man.
with.
But
He
he's
does get a
strong
little
as
more
shit.
interesting once you get into his
That's true.
backstory, but
Like,
That's
until then, and that's so far into the game that it's
And
really
he's
hard
the
to pick
only
him up.
one that like immediately soft locks his like progression shit,
His
like
romance,
from what
yeah,
I was reading
yep.
on the Wikipedia. So he'll also block you from learning other interesting stuff. It's fine.
oh yeah, I guess that's true.
That's okay.
I don't know. I just thought he was real strong, and
I'm sure.
He is
Uh,
very.
there
his
was
class,
things
too.
about Iron Bull that I just didn't care for, so I didn't
What?
bother. It's fine.
It's okay.
Would character design be one
No,
of them?
no. His
Well,
boobs
it's
hanging out
hideous.
is so good. It's good. It's
No,
really good.
it's-
I love it.
Awful.
Yeah, and then his pea-sized head.
Yeah.
No, I love him. Oh my god, stop making fun of him. I'm gonna get my feelings hurt.
But I because of what we all I think know at this point, I did shed Solus pretty quickly, and
Obviously, we fucking didn't.
Unfortunately, he didn't.
so yeah, Vivienne was my main mage, who I liked her a lot. But I was 2 warriors, myself as a rogue, and a mage. What about you guys?
Shay, what about you?
So I would do some combination of an archer, fighter, and a mage for most of my run.
Yeah.
And then recently I've just been like slamming into everything with Cassandra, Solus, and Dorian.
Hmm.
I have Dorian's like necromage stuff
Yeah.
like maxed out right now.
Mm.
And Solus has like so much fire.
Yeah,
That,
his fire stuff is very good.
Yeah.
I do love an AoE mage.
Yeah.
So when he puts up a like cavern of fire around us, I go for it. So yeah, that's what I've been doing recently. Is just Cassandra, Dorian, and Solus.
Nice.
Right on.
That's really
Yeah.
interesting because it's probably clear at this point, but I've played this game a lot and I've played a lot of Dragon Age. So instead of going by like trying to pick one warrior, one rogue, one mage, that sort of thing, I just pick who seems to fit with the area that I'm going to, or has some story beats there, or has some side quests there to kind of help with their affection.
Oh, I love that.
Because I'm really comfortable with combat as it is, and I don't really need a kind of party composition, so I just, do whatever, and it kind of works out.
Yeah, it's like how in Three Houses when you bring Ash to the Leonardo fight so he can like stab his own dad or whatever. Like it's like
stuff like that.
Yeah, Aaron, I was doing that at first also, and then I just like really got the time spent running back and forth between places was enough of a time suck, so I stopped thinking about who I wanted to bring with me.
And that's a huge part of this game, is that it's going to, if you want to experience a lot of the stuff that all the maps have to offer and like all the characters have to offer, it's gonna take a lot of time. And I think we all hit that.
Yeah, I think that was one of my big disconnects. It's like everything that you do in terms of grinding really feels like a grind. Like you can wander around a Skyrim and just come across cool shit on accident, where with this, like, yes, that does happen, but I think it's with such minimal regularity. Like the maps are really fucking big in some cases, and a lot of it is, some of the mountain ranges make it harder to traverse and get from point A to point B, so you're just kind of going around different passages and things like that. And there's the dwarven cavern that you go to, which I did not care for because it was a fairly limited map with not a whole lot on it, and also a dick to traverse. For me, it didn't really find a rhythm of like, this is truly open world and you can explore it at your leisure, and this is the very specific pathway that you need to go to get not a great payoff in certain cases. And that bugged me too. I didn't hate this game. I want to say now, I did not hate this game.
I was like just wondering, is this going to be the first time that Shay gives a higher rating to this game, like a game, than Dan does? Like,
certainly not the first time.
Okay,
it is possible, but I also I understand the merit of a lot of what was going on here. It's just it's not built for my specific tastes in certain cases, because again, I like fantasy based stuff. I'm a huge Skyrim fan, Elder Scrolls in general. Like it's not the setting, it's not even really the play style, because like this is much easier to play and to navigate than The Witcher is for me. Like The Witcher is built like a PC game, and I'm not a PC gamer. This works well on a console. Like they had console stuff in mind, they put this together. Like hot swapping powers or anything like that isn't overly difficult. Like everything is accessible. I wish I understood why I had trouble with this game. I think it's also an executive dysfunction thing, realistically, just because of how overwhelming certain parts of the map are, and like how many things they drop in, almost in a Ubisoft sort of way of like, you're gonna spend 10 hours minimum clearing all of this out, and that just gets overwhelming for me sometimes. So it is my fault. It is nothing to do with the game necessarily.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that, because as I was playing through this time, I didn't really focus on clearing the map, just kind of focusing on the objective that I had in front of me, right? Let's say Scout Harding was talking about how we needed to get horses for the Inquisition. So instead of kind of like wandering the map, I would just kind of go in that direction, and if I found something interesting on the way there, that's when I would kind of diverge from what I was doing and then kind of do that for a little bit and then get back to, my focus, my goal.
Yeah. Well, the horse thing is an interesting example, actually, because that's one of those ones where it's like, you go to the stables to get the horses, and then this dude's like, well, you have to do these 5 other things real quick.
Yeah, well, and that's,
and I'm like, but just give me the fucking horses. Like, I don't care about building towers. I don't care about clearing out wolves. Like, let's just, like, I have to very slowly have this buffalo thing follow me. Like, ugh.
Well, and I was gonna say, like, I feel like it is definitely, like, comes down to, like, a personal thing, because, like, watching Aaron play through some of that, I was like, he's clearly enjoying himself, but I'm about to fall asleep if you have to shoot another wolf with like 80 arrows, and then like move on. Like, so I feel like it is just a personal thing, because I've also played some really long, boring ass games like a lot of times. So I feel like it must just be some personal thing, personal difference of opinion or something.
Yeah, I don't know
whether you'll like this or not.
As I was exploring, I felt less of like it was a chore and more of like I would get rewarded for the exploration that I wanted to do. Like with a new story beat or a new lore book or some other thing, as opposed to like all of these chores that I saw on the map. And don't get me wrong, like when I first played this game, I definitely felt the same way that you did, Dan. But now that I don't know, maybe it's kind of revisiting it and feeling all nostalgic about it again, and thus trying to shift my view from how I felt about it before.
Yeah, I could see myself picking this up again now that this is the furthest I've gotten in it. The first time I bailed so much sooner. Like, I feel like now that I have kind of the swing of certain things, like I can go into it with a clearer head, and I might even try a different character build altogether. Especially now that I have a better idea of who is available for a party, and kind of structure it around that a little bit better. Although I do love playing rogues, and it's nice to be able to, like, especially as an archer, to kind of like stand back and let them do all the dirty work and just like pick off people with some of your abilities and just like wipe everything out with like exploding arrows and shit. But I don't know.
Let's talk about the combat real quick.
Yeah, let's.
Because I'm sure other games have done this, but they do like a battle master view.
Yeah.
Or they have a battle master option for the combat where you can kind of pause everything and give your party members...
What?
Yeah, they have this isometric tactical view that you can kind of pause the game.
Do you see how confident this guy is playing this game? I did not know that this was even a thing. Aaron's like, I don't fucking need that shit. I trust my guys.
Yeah, it is a little unfortunate that I didn't get to like flex that a lot, but...
Oh my god, I was like, what, you can tell them what to do? I thought Iron Bull would just run at whoever was closest to him and that was all that would happen. Are you serious?
So there's like a way to like break it down and like give them step-by-step instructions.
Oh my God.
But then there's like also a way to like build out what skills you want your party members to prioritize as well, which is really cool. So like if you're not using that tactical overview, you still have control over what your party members are going to like attempt, what skills they're going to attempt to use around you, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, it's one of the most robust versions of this idea I've ever seen in a game, because like they do a little bit of this in Mass Effect. It's also like something that's been ripped off a bunch now. Like with any of these party-based action RPGs, like you get little pieces of this. Like even in the new Final Fantasy VII remake, there's hints of that kind of idea. Not so much controlling what they do. Like you can do commands, but like in terms of go to this area, focus on these people, use these abilities in that isometric view, like that's completely fresh for this, for me at least, like in terms of the games that I play. And like you can also just take control of Iron Bull or whoever and have your built character just be an AI if you wanted to. All of that stuff is really fascinating, and there's so much to offer there. Like this, you can tailor make this as far as the combat system is to whatever you want it to be in a way that most games don't offer.
I actually can't believe that that's a feature. Like, I am shocked.
Well, it sounds like Aaron played it a lot like I played
Aaron's really fucking good at this game. Like he like never. I don't even. Do you open it as like a menu or like?
Yeah,
no,
basically.
yeah. You press the select button for the remote thing that I was using, and then it just pauses time, and then it zooms out, and you can order your party members. I think the one time that I did actually show Kelsey that I just made 2 of my party members turn a wheel to open a door. So...
I did see that. I didn't realize that was like expanded. Like you could expand that beyond here, go push this thing that you had to push open or something.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a surprisingly robust system. Not as robust as the one that they had in Dragon Age Origins, in the original, and even not as robust as the one in Dragon Age 2. But you know, it's still there. It's still kicking, and even though the AI is a little more stupid, you can order them to take care of things anyway.
That's insane.
So this is a downgrade, you're saying?
Yes.
This thing that we've just spent several minutes praising is actually worse than what it was first introduced.
So Inquisition is definitely a more modern take on the system, and it's more accessible to I guess a wider audience, but it is slightly less robust than the ones that were in previous iterations.
Yeah, from what I read, it's just more streamlined, I guess.
Mm-hmm. A lot more streamlined, and again, the AI is a little more stupid, but at the same time, it's not as complicated to get things set up. So,
yeah, in terms of difficulty, like, I didn't have a ton of issues. Like, I think I did die a couple times, but it was just from stupidity or just not equipping things that I really should have previously, or walking into water and just getting swarmed with zombies in certain cases. It's not that difficult. Like, the stuff they put in front of you, with the exception of some of the bosses and stuff like that, everything is pretty easily surmountable comparatively. Maybe that's just because I didn't get super far.
The big difficulty spikes don't actually occur until some of the DLC areas. So like Jaws of Hakon and Trespasser. Trespasser is actually such a huge difficulty spike compared to any of the rest of the game, because, you know, they had expected you to come in with, you know, level 32 to 35 characters and have a bunch of gear all built out, that they just made the encounters like insane.
Yeah.
But for the most part, this game is easy until you start getting into those later areas.
Okay. All right, so I'm not totally out of my mind.
And admittedly, where you were in the game, Dan, is still actually, not to discourage you, but it is very early in the game.
Yeah, so I'm what, a quarter
You're still
of the
in the
way
damn
through,
tutorial,
maybe.
Dan. Okay, come on.
I mean, I'm still like 40 hours in, and if that's a quarter, like, but I also like did take the time to clear everything on a map that I could in what was accessible, because it's just the way my brain works.
Yeah, that is one thing that's really deceptive about this, is that they give you this giant area, but, you know, the first story mission that occurs there, you don't have to spend a lot of time in those areas before you kind of get into the story and get into the decision between the mages and the Templars. And
yeah,
like, you probably need to spend 4 or 5 hours just kind of gathering everyone, and then you can jump right into the Mage Templar decision.
Yeah, like, I was like, I have to get every rift. I have to deliver this ring to this person's wife, or husband, rather. Like, I was doing all of that little side questy stuff just because that's how I play a lot of those games. Again, I'm going to use the example of Skyrim. Like, I'll do everything that's in an immediate area before going to Whiterun and doing the primary objective. Because of the map structure, because it's all like these capsulized experiences, I would get to every corner and like, well, now I have to open the weird door, which means I have to go find all the astrology things, and like I had to do everything, which just extended my playtime, especially in the early game, by so much. And you're absolutely right. Like, by doing that, I kept myself in an area that was much easier for longer. So that's a me issue. Shay, how did you feel about the difficulty?
I think for the most part, it was, I don't want to say too easy, because that's not right. Do enemies scale with you in this game?
No, they don't.
Nope.
No?
They're locked to the area.
They're static.
All right. Well, I guess I just haven't gone back to the places that were difficult at the time. I haven't really noticed anything getting easier, really, except for just because the rifts are like in every area. Some of the enemies that come out of the Fade rifts, I have noticed, have been easier for me to kill. But otherwise, I don't know. I guess I just haven't been to places I've been before enough to notice a difference.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, that's one big thing about the Hinterlands, is that it has such a wide range of like different leveled areas. Not only are there the kind of beginning quest level areas, and then ones that are kind of moderate, kind of like the level 7 to 9 areas, but there's actually an area to the side of Redcliffe that is level 20 plus, where you can fight the Hinterlands dragon, which is one of the harder dragons in the game. And if you try to run through there, you're gonna, get exploded. It's like just so much more difficult than everything else on the map. And the Hinterlands kind of encapsulates the full range of difficulty throughout the game, as opposed to some of the other areas, which are much more enclosed, much more like a smaller level range, and everything on the whole map is that level range kind of thing. So,
do you want to know when I tried to, made a serious attempt to fight that Hinterlands dragon?
When?
Level 4.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm
sure you beat it on the first try.
I did not.
Yeah, even
Solstice's like, what the fuck? Get out of here. What are you doing?
Yeah, you'll get smacked walking in there.
Even the little
Solus,
dragons.
Solus, I believe, lasted for one hit. And then he was dead.
That sounds about right.
There's also that dragon in, it wasn't Crestwood, but the Storm Coast. It's like a giant fighting a dragon, and then you walk up to the giant and picks up a rock and smashes your entire party, and it's so good.
Ooh.
Oh my god, yeah.
Oh, I
so
just stood back and watched that play out for as long as I could, because like before you get close, like you see it happening. I don't know if it's a distance based thing, but like they're not actually doing any damage to each other. If you get close enough where they can actually hurt each other, and then the dragon just takes out the giant, I think in almost every case, just based on power levels and stuff, you can just reap the benefits of whatever the giant dropped, and the dragon just fucks off for a bit. And I was like, I'm just gonna steal this and fucking run. But I think we can probably get into pros and cons here, unless anybody has anything specific about the gameplay or anything like that they want to discuss.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Who are you guys gonna try to bone down with? I do want to know that. I want to get the spread of the group.
Oh no, man. I didn't put that much thought into it. And like when conversation dialogue came up where I could be flirty, I was just like, no, I got some shit to do. Like, we'll worry about that later. I did
Dan
like
said,
a lot.
I'm business only.
Yeah.
This is a job to me, okay?
Well, I feel like
I'm trying
So
to
I
save
was,
the world here. I don't have time for
I don't have time
romance,
to
or
be
I don't even have
talking.
time to talk to you all.
Yeah, no.
I went with a female presenting elf.
Oh,
Yeah, I looked
Interesting.
dope as hell too. I had like the glowing face tattoos and everything.
we look like Aragorn, kind of. If Aragorn and Legolas had a baby, that's what we look like.
I don't know if I don't know who all even, to be honest, like was.
Google it real quick and then come back to
I'm
it,
looking
like
at the
who
list
you're
of
gonna pick.
characters. Fucking look at Sarah. Why not? I don't know anything about her, but
Okay.
Elven Rogue and Elven Rogue. Why not?
Match made in heaven.
Yeah.
Shay, what about
She
you? Who you
seems
picking?
so flippant about everything.
She is interesting.
I didn't really. I just flirted with everybody when I had the chance.
Oh, mood.
And I currently Josephine is in the lead.
Josephine is
Yeah!
so good.
Josephine is the best option, I think.
And the unfortunate
just
thing
because-
is, if you don't romance
Wait,
Josephine,
you can romance the
then-
advisors?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Okay.
Actually,
I probably would have
you
done
go
the
with
same
Cullen?
thing.
Cullen
Oh, no.
or Josephine, not Leliana. Leliana's got shit to do, and if you carry some save data over from Dragon Age 1, then could potentially be in a relationship with the hero for Elden. But
This is
Okay.
crazy, by the way. We'll talk about this in pros and cons more, but how much stuff depends on the earlier games is insane to me. Like,
Yeah.
so crazy.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like a BioWare thing.
Mm.
Like they care so much about like the overarching lore. I mean, the first time I played the Mass Effect series and like you can actually import any of the data from the previous ones and it matters was mind-blowing to me. Like BioWare is kind of in a class of its own when it comes to that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like continuing a story. One of the games we're going to cover in a few episodes is so the opposite. Like it doesn't matter what you did. It's like almost hard resets where it's like, well, this is the canon lore and you know what this is about, and it's also hard to be accessible from the word go anyway, just because everything we do is so batshit. And then I went and got a fucking tattoo based on the property on my body, so whatever. Anyway, all right, so
Okay.
pros and cons. I hated the war table. I'll just kick it off. I did not like the war table thing. I do not like when things are timed like that in games of like, all right, send your party here. It's going to be 45 minutes. Check back in. Because of the way the game is structured, it's so disruptive to go back out of a map, walk to the war table again, get whatever benefits you got or whatever the results were, and then go back to what you were doing. Like, I wish the war table was accessible through Messenger or fucking something, like at the camps, like to make it less... Like, it just took me so out of it every time I had to do that. And it's absolutely necessary to get to other parts of the map or obtain certain pickups and whatever. It was also unclear to me the benefits of using one advisor over the other for certain things, other than just like little adjustments in the time itself.
can I spoil it for you?
Yes, please.
It matters. There are some war table operations where you can either lock yourself out of the whole chain or really change the face of like how the situation is approached and then the impact that it has. One example that I can spoil is that your clan or whoever your origin is, your family or whatever, might not survive some assassination attempt on them if you choose the wrong advisor. And
whoa.
And it's all dependent on some of the context clues that you get, like as you read the War Table Operation text and the stuff that the advisors say.
There is actually so much stuff. They care so much about the details of this game. I kind of appreciate it, because a lot of times that stuff is just like horseshit and throwaway, but like I like in this game how much those little details matter. All that stuff that you'd normally be like, oh, this is just flavor text, whatever. Like, they punish you for not reading it. And someone wrote that, like, they took the time to write it, so I think you should have to read it. So I like that about this game.
Yeah. I did at least, like, read the descriptions of whatever it was. I wasn't just blindly going, like, all right, we'll do this one with Brute, we'll do this one as a spy.
Sure.
Like, I did try to go with what I felt was the most reasonable option, but because I had so little context even with that in certain cases, and I'm sure that some of them don't matter at all, but if you get yourself into a mindset of like, well, whatever, like this, you know, this seems to be going fine. I haven't had any huge negative outcomes when it comes to advisors. When you do get into that where it absolutely truly matters, you might have already tricked yourself into thinking like, well, what the fuck ever, I don't care.
Yeah, someone who doesn't come in with a background of like CRPGs might not know that everything that you're reading actually means something. And
yeah,
that's kind of like, it's like a pro and a con with this game in that it's super accessible to a wide audience, but at the same time, it still has this underlying system of like, hey, there's so much lore here, all your decisions, you know, well, most of your decisions matter, so really pay attention to what you're doing. Otherwise, you could really screw yourself later on in the story.
Right. And that, I feel like it has a lot to do with the background of what BioWare was making previously. Like, because it's almost like you're playing with an invisible DM a lot of the times.
Yeah.
It is pretty rooted in their previous work with Dungeons & Dragons lore, with both Baldur's Gate and Neverwinter and stuff like that. And then, like, I don't know, I think it's extremely admirable that they do give a shit as much as they do. Like, at least in certain cases, like pre-EA, this being like the one real exception where they're like, no, we're gonna do what we're gonna do, because that first Dragon Age game came right as they were being purchased. I'm sorry, Mass Effect was the one they were releasing, but they were already in development for Dragon Age. My bad. Mass Effect, I think, is less successful in that idea than Dragon Age is, but still, like, having the linked games, having outcomes carry over into the next installment is still, like, so fucking cool to me. BioWare is kind of its own very singular type of company, and even after the buyout, like, have tried to remain as true to that as possible. Like, the next Baldur's Gate game is coming out soon-ish, right?
Yeah, sometime in August, right?
I think they had a recent event for it too, actually. Like,
yeah,
maybe this month even.
It could be. I was actually just talking to Past the Future guest Timmy last night about CRPGs and how it's like not something I fully understand even structurally, just because it's a bit of a blind spot for me. So before we continue on with pros and cons, Aaron, explain a little bit more in depth like what a CRPG is and what that distinction is compared to other RPGs, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so CRPG is the shorthand name of a computer role-playing game. And you might say, hey, all of these RPGs are computer role-playing games. But more specifically, some of the games that came out in like earlier days of gaming, like, you know, 70s, 80s, where they would take the Dungeons and Dragons system and just build it out on the computer, just either in text or like, you know, simplistic graphics, but like really dedicate the whole computer game to this system. And the focus was more on replicating the system and replicating the kind of feeling that you would get, the decision-making opportunities that you would have on a tabletop RPG, just on a computer.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Pros and cons, folks. What do you got?
One major con is that this game is owned by EA. And so we have to use the garbage EA launcher, even if you've purchased this game on Steam, and if you happen to not have an internet connection, you're going to have so much trouble running this game. It is such a chore trying to get the EA launcher to run, you know, from Steam and to boot up the game and to sync your saves. I tear my hair out every time I have to boot this game up on my computer because I can't stand it. Not only that, this is more past knowledge, but this game's DLCs were horrendously overpriced. And not only that, they happened to inject a bunch of microtransactions into the multiplayer of this game, which I unfortunately fell into and ended up spending a little bit of money on. But yeah, it's a major con because it really detracts from the kind of plug and play aspect of this game itself. If this game wasn't trying to run through the EA launcher, you would have just this beautiful, smooth experience. And even though the game is older now at this point, having been released in 2014, it still looks and runs really well, surprisingly well for a game that came out then.
Yeah.
I was going to piggyback off of that because, like, I have pros and cons even though I didn't play the game. But,
no, I love it.
One of my pros for this game is that it looks, like, really nice. Like, it's nice to look at. I've just been kind of passively watching or, like, doing stuff on my phone while I was playing or whatever. And, like, y'all mentioned Skyrim earlier. That game looks like mud to me. It's like disgusting. This game, like, looks so much nicer. I'm like, oh my god, people's outfits have more colors than, like, brown and darker brown. Like, this is really nice. So I think the game looks nice for a game of that time.
I'll give you that.
Actually, I have a pro off of that.
This is like a chain. It's like the human centipede of pros.
No.
My god. Ugh. Anyway, to circle back to my pro, I love that they have armor tinting. It's such a small thing to include in such a really massive game, but like it makes a huge difference, especially if you're a psycho like me who will like occasionally in other games take worse armor because it matches.
That is like, not psychotic. That is the most natural gamer behavior.
Literally. Ask how fucking long Solus was wearing that clown-ass pinhead outfit from the beginning of the game. Like, he looked like a goose for like half the game, and Aaron was finally like, Solus is dying like every battle. We need to up him.
It was up until the winter ball. When I finally changed him.
I was gonna say, like, may have been literally, like, Corypheus when we met his ass or something. Like, oh my god. But I was like, no, you can't take him out of his clown wear. Oh my god.
Yeah, but no, I love the armor tinting in that game. I have such a sick outfit now. It's, like, gold and off-white.
Oh, hell yeah.
But, like, it's, like, between white and silver. It's so cool. Anyway, I love that. I love that in such a massive game, it's like such a small thing that they didn't need to include and definitely did. I do like that too, when you're like crafting armor and weapons, the different metals that you're using will influence like what color the armor or weapon comes out.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Which is really cool because it would. So yeah, that's a huge pro for me. A big ol' con is that entire Winter Ball section.
Oh no!
I was about ready to fucking rope myself throughout that whole experience.
Roll the fucking floor or whatever.
One of my pros is that mission, though.
Oh!
Well, okay, so I knew that was going to be a big choice. So I had spent so much time avoiding it by like doing every other mission possible. Like I cleared out Crestwood and the Hinterlands and like one other area. I like went back and forth and did that string of operations where you clear out that smog in the desert.
Wow.
Bro, what?
When I tell you I was avoiding going to this ball so that I didn't have to make this choice, I mean it. So then when I got there, like if I had just done it, I think I would have had a much better time. But just like the anticipation and build up to that particular mission and then like getting there and like having to manage. Okay, I also hate all of the politicking. Like I hate the like fancy for the face of it that they espouse in Orlais.
Y'all don't understand anything.
So like having to like incur favor from the court of Orlais was like a chore for me because like I knew that it would have something to do with the outcome of the mission, so like I couldn't just ignore it and go fuck off to the royal wing and search around for whatever I wanted and not care about what the courtesans thought of me. But I knew that it would matter, so like I couldn't do what I wanted to do in that area. And then on top of that, all of the anticipation that I made myself build for it to essentially be a bunch of cutscenes, kind of, and not exactly, but the important stuff happens in cutscenes. And another thing, if they weren't wearing different colored dresses, I would have mistook Florian for Celine 100 million times.
They look very similar.
They do look very similar. I think only their haircut is different. Otherwise, their facial structure is very similar.
Yeah. But yeah, I didn't like the whole Winter Ball
that
section.
If you hate politicking, then yes, you would hate that. I had it as a pro on my list because I felt...
Well, hey, go for it.
I felt like that mission really encapsulates what Dragon Age Inquisition is trying to have you do and have you play as this person who has been thrust into, for the mission, the game, but for Inquisition as a whole, this kind of world-ending event, and having to navigate all of these decisions and having so much impact be based on even the most minute things that you're doing. I just thought it really reflected well on that. And if you had to play a single mission from this game to like understand what it's about, I would have said do that one. Skip ahead through everything. You might have a rough time in some of the combat sections, but if you want to understand like the root of Inquisition, then this mission is the one that you want to do.
So cool.
I think hearing you say that, actually my big issue with the Winter Ball has nothing to do with the actual mission itself, and is, I think, maybe the moment I realized that I had not been paying as much attention as I wanted to. or
it
that
really
I
holds up a mirror to you.
Yeah. I think it became apparent that I had not been choosing as carefully as I should have been.
That makes sense.
So I'm gonna take it off as a con, but I didn't have a good experience because I realized how badly I had fucked up.
Yeah.
It is not an easy mission at all. Like even if you're playing through it for the first time and not looking at a guide and you don't care what outcome you get, you're just doing whatever. It's tough. Like the execution of it itself is tough.
Oh yeah, and then I completely forgot about this, but I texted you like shortly before we started recording. And I was like, I still managed to fuck up. Like, I had a guide open. I still managed to fuck up what I wanted to do at that fucking ball. So, because I didn't talk to... I talked to one person about the locket, but I didn't talk to both of them. So...
Yep, that'll get you.
Yeah, because I didn't... Well, because at the beginning of the mission, Josephine's like, don't tell everybody what you're doing. And so I was like, I can't tell people that I found this locket because it's in a part of the castle that I am definitely not supposed to be in. And so I should not be... Anyway.
It's all part of the quote-unquote game.
Yeah. Dan, what do you have for pros and cons? Anything else?
Well, here's where we're going to get into the big spoilery stuff. So if you don't want to be spoiled on it, although... based on what the next game is going to be, if you follow Dragon Age at all, you already kind of know this. Actually,
yeah.
Kelsey,
what?
Do you know who has been working against you this whole time?
Isn't it that egg-headed like motherfucker or something?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
It turns out.
Oh yeah, we talked about the trespasser. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It turns out at the end of this game that Solus is actually evil.
He's so funny. I think he's hilarious. When I saw that he was the most, like, fucked character in the game, I was like, there's no way. But then as we got, like, more experience with him, I was like, this guy's hilarious. Like, why wouldn't you fuck him? I don't know.
Okay.
But anyway.
Absolutely. Okay, so yeah, so the next game is Dreadwolf, which is Solus's other name, or true name. And I really like that. I like, I don't love a twist oftentimes. This one hits really well because it's one of the first characters you meet. You have him accessible throughout the entirety of this, 100+ hour campaign, just to have it be like, all right, so next time it's you and me, motherfucker. We're going to go to battle. I like that a lot. I think that's a really, really cool idea. And it just shows like a lot of forethought and world building on BioWare's part. So I just appreciate that. That's a big pro for me. Con-wise, I think I covered... sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, before we move off of Solus, like, especially since I don't know if y'all are both playing elves, but, like, Aaron's character is an elf, so he is pretty, like, pro a lot of the stuff that you do just by nature of you being an elf. So, like, it definitely feels like, even now I'm kind of like, we must do something really fucked up or something for him to turn on us, because it seems like he's pretty down with, like, what's going on.
Yeah.
And whatnot. So
I guess that was my experience as well. Because of that, he does seem like he's one of the most solidly in your corner people the entire game. And so that makes the twist hit harder, I guess.
Right, yeah. You don't have to, like, overcome, like, when you get to that ball mission, they're like, everybody in Orlais fucking hates elves, so you start with, like, 0 approval or whatever, and, like, you have to grind your way up like crazy, but, like, he is definitely one of the people that you don't have to convince. Not only am I, like, this herald of Andraste or whatever, but also, like, elves are not evil people or slaves by nature, so, like, it kind of feels already, like, boosted because of that.
That's true.
Seconding your point.
Yeah. Thank you. I mean, I got into a lot of my cons, like, during just the open discussion of just the overwhelming nature, but that is specific to me, and I'm not going to knock it against the game itself. So I'm pretty much good.
All right. Aaron, Kelsey, you guys have any more pros and cons?
I have a lot of, like, nitpicky stuff that, I've experienced over the years. This is exactly what this is for. Go for it.
Rattle them off.
Like I was saying before, the AI is really stupid. One other con that I've kind of realized just having or attempting to play this with Kelsey is that you need to know a lot of lore to have the full like impact of this game. Even though it is the most accessible of any of their games, it is also the least accessible in the sense of if you don't know any lore, you really don't get a lot out of some of the story beats and some of the quips that people are saying.
It's like dropping into an MCU film, like, in the middle somewhere. Like if you were to watch Secret Wars right now without any context of the MCU, I could see it being the exact same sort of experience.
Yeah. Like, Aaron had to explain, like, when we met up with that Hawk person, I was like, well, now who the fuck is this?
There's a fucking Hawk person?
No.
His name is Hawk.
Sick as fuck.
I wanted there to be an actual bird man.
It's not a Hawk man.
Yes.
It's not like Hawkeye or anything. It is a person named Hawk.
Part of the way through the game, you meet Varric's friend Hawk, who is actually the main character from Dragon Age 2. And when you import some of your save data, or I guess when you import the world state from the Dragon Age Keep, a lot of dialogue will change depending on what you did in Dragon Age 2 and how you decided to play that character. And even how you decided to build them, whether they're a mage, warrior, or rogue, like everything changes. The overarching story beats don't change, but the things that they say, the little quips, the stuff that they have to say about their former companions, it's really cool to see. And this game really was a love letter to any fan that had been taking, their experience from the first and second game into this game.
Yeah. Maybe if I have a free year at some point, I'll go and play them all.
Wait, I have one more pro before we move out of the segment. I don't know if Aaron was going to bring it up otherwise, but I feel like we talked about this earlier, Aaron and I, when we were coming up with our list. Like, the art direction on this game is, like, out of control. It's so good. I feel like the outfits look really cool. Like, they're not generic fantasy, but they're not so far removed from generic fantasy that you're like, what the fuck am I looking at? The tarot card sort of looks for, like, selecting your companions that you're taking in your party and stuff is really cool. Like, the art style on the icons is really cool. I like when a game feels like it let the artists like do interesting stuff too, in addition to just kind of like designing the sort of like models and the worlds and stuff. And I think this game looked really had a lot of really good attention to detail.
I agree with that, and also they didn't fall victim to that fantasy thing of like, well, the strongest armor for this person is just like metal lingerie. Isn't that great? Like,
yes, 100%.
They did such a good job of keeping everything like tasteful and but still like super fucking cool looking. Yeah, I appreciate that to no end. I can't stand that in games where it's like...
Like, I'm glad Cassandra wasn't like, okay, time to put on my little leotard armor and, like, go to battle. Like, she looks cool.
She looks badass.
Out and...
Yeah. The person who has the most sort of, like, stuff hanging out all the time is Iron Bull.
Yeah, and that's just...
His boobs are fully out. Like, there's no way around it.
Yeah. And that's just based on, like, the armor class stuff of, like, you're not getting a helmet, you're getting war paint or whatever. Like...
Right. I do like that you don't have to wear the helmet, but you can still like equip it if that
Love
makes sense. So you can
that
see who's
in a
who.
game.
So
I
good.
love that so much.
Good.
Yeah.
Great feature. Everywhere should have that.
All right, you guys ready to throw numbers
Let's
at this?
throw some numbers.
All right, up first, does it work?
I have no complaints really when it comes to controls or anything like that. I think everything is mapped pretty well. Aaron, you were playing this for PC, but playing with a controller, right? Is that what you said?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. Have you played with a keyboard at all?
I have, yeah.
Aaron's a big PC guy.
Is it like huge noticeable differences, or is it accessible either way?
It is accessible either way. I've noticed that it definitely is built for mouse and keyboard, and you'll probably perform the best on mouse and keyboard, but it's accessible enough on controller where, you know, I can play this on the go on a handheld and not really have any trouble.
Okay. I'm good giving this a full point. I really don't have any issues one way or the other. Aaron, are you pretty much in the same boat?
I am not, unfortunately. I'm going to give this half a point because of the EA launcher. How I cannot overstate how awful of an experience it is trying to launch this game on a PC.
Okay.
If anyone has the opportunity to purchase this game on a console, it might run a little bit worse, but you won't have to deal with the launcher and deal with the headache.
Yeah.
But otherwise, the
actually,
game runs
it is
flawlessly.
It is really bad. Like, the launcher experience is crazy.
Yeah, okay.
It's like Origin level, which I think also might be EA, now that I think about it.
Yes, the new EA launcher is the evolution of the Origin launcher.
Oh, fuck me.
Origin, or the evolution being used loosely.
De-evolution or something, yeah.
All right, I'm going to give it a point because I have it on a console and don't have to do
That's
that.
right.
Lucky.
Nice.
Yeah, we both played this for PlayStation. Quick fucking weird side note. So, and we'll get into this like more so with our last 5 points, but when you purchase it for console, there's the standard edition, which is $30. And then the, I guess, deluxe edition is $20. And I do not understand that. That is such a specifically EA thing. I've run into that issue before with them. So if we're going to shit on EA, I want to do it now real quick. When we were figuring out, you know, everything for our AAA Summer Series, like that was one of the things where we were both very confused of like, why is this priced this way? Fuck you, EA. Just make your shit make sense across the board, please.
This episode has lost all structure.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh, no.
Up next, is it engaging?
We're probably going to disagree pretty heavily on this one.
Yeah, you know what, Aaron, go first.
I would say a 1.
Yeah.
It is a completely engaging experience, start to finish. The exploration, I felt it was amazing. You know, my, 10th, 11th playthrough at this point.
Damn.
I love
Holy
all
shit.
of the flavor texts. I love
I'm telling you, he's a stan.
I love how, let's not get into how much of a Dragon Age stan I am. I'm going to embarrass myself. But
I just want to know
love all
total
of the-
time sunk. That's all. Like, if we can calculate real quick.
Way too much.
Yeah.
And that's just
11
in the
playthroughs
games.
And this is like 100 hours worth of gameplay. That feels impossible.
Yeah.
Okay, Aaron.
We're at 1,000.
I would like you to finish talking about
sorry.
why you would like to give this a point here.
Sorry.
I've already forgot where I was. So.
Excellent.
Really engaging. You like it a lot. You've played it a lot.
It's good. I love the world. I love all the characters. And
Yeah.
I just love the series. So 1 for me.
Yeah. All right. Dan?
This is not a reflection on the game per se, but I think because it's such a specific flavor of gameplay and fantasy and task-oriented stuff that I can't always keep track of, or I get this FOMO thing where it's like, oh, I have to do fucking everything right now. I think I have to give it a half. And I feel a little bit bad about it because it's not the fault of the game. It is, again, specifically just the way my brain is set up. But for me, that made it less engaging.
Yeah. I am going to give it a full point here. And I think it... Talk about this fucking winter ball again.
Go.
I think that, like, when I realized how badly I had fucked up when I got to that ball, and at 45 hours I had already sunk into it, I was, like, genuinely heartbroken. This game was not shaped the way that I wanted it to be and had the power to do. And just, like, kind of making that realization, like made everything more interesting to me, realizing that I have to pay attention. I was like, now I'm reading like everything instead of, just the things that I think are important. And it just enhanced the game so much more than what I was doing before that I feel like I can't give this anything other than a point here. Up next, does it look good?
Easy point. This looks so cool. The designs are so cool. Everything about this looks awesome, even for like what is now a relatively old game. Facial motions, really no complaints. Like Andromeda was worse than this. Like even if we're gonna keep it with just BioWare, like they did such a good job with so many aspects of this. Yeah, enemy design, fucking everything. Easy point.
Aaron?
Yeah, easy point from me as well. My only real gripe is that the character creator is really starting to show its age. The options are a little weird. The face morphs that they're using, a little like you could tell that they were trying to go for realistic at the time, but the engine couldn't handle it as much as they had wanted. But at the same time, so long as you don't make your character look like a clown, the game looks great.
Yeah, I agree. Full point for me as well. Up next, is there replayability?
Okay, I am going to give this a full point. There is so much to explore. There are so many options. Even if it's not... I can see myself picking this up again, giving it a different shot, trying a completely different play structure. There's nothing necessarily inherently replayable. Actually, I take that back. Because you can go with different factions, because you can make a whole lot of decisions, there kind of is an inherent replayability. It's fucking daunting. Like, I don't think I could do 11 playthroughs, which... Jesus Christ, Aaron, that is so admirable. I can't even stand it. But yeah, no, it's definitely replayable. Full point.
Aaron?
Spoiled it for me, but yeah, full point. I would play through this game. Sometimes I would get burnt out, but then I would maybe read a Dragon Age book or one of their comic series or replay one of the original games and be like, oh man, now that I've made some of these decisions, let's go back and play Inquisition and see like how that's going to change what I see.
Yeah.
And even then, like within the game itself, let's say, you don't read any of the ancillary material or play the original games, there's so much choice that you can make by yourself. And there's no feasible way to see all of it in a single playthrough. So yeah, full point.
I'm going to give it a point because I am strongly considering throwing away the 46 hours I have already logged to start over.
It's all that goddamn winner's ball.
All right. Is there a story?
Fucking... This might be the easiest point we've ever given out. This has more story than anything we've done. An overwhelming abundance of story. Even if you don't get into all the flavor text stuff and all the lore, like, just the core gameplay itself has so fucking much story. So yeah, point. Easy point.
Yeah, you're playing a movie, honestly.
Yeah.
It's not
you're playing
novel,
a 7
but...
a 7 season fucking television show by the time you get through all of that. But yes. Like, it would take longer to complete this 100% than it would to watch all of Game of Thrones and a bunch of other fantasy shows, I feel. I'm not that comes off as a negative. It's absolutely not. It's a fucking incredible thing that they've done with this. It's fucking unreal, and it makes sense why Dreadwolf has taken so long to come out. I can only imagine how much they're going to pack into this fucking game.
And the funny thing is that a lot of people knock this game for being a watered down version of Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2 with regards to the story. Like, and
well,
I kind of agree with that, but at the same time, like, there's more than enough here in Inquisition.
Yeah. Watered down of 150% could still be 100%.
Well, okay, is it just that Origins and 2 are more condensed and more like succinct, or what? Why do you think that is? What do you think the criticism is?
The part of the criticism comes from the fact that it was completely different from Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2. In those games, you play a kind of a singular hero who is on their own when it comes to solving some problem, either in Ferelden for the first game or in the Free Marches for the second game. specifically the city of Kirkwall for the second game. So it's like a really small area, and your choices felt like you had much more impact, even though you were on a smaller scale and you worked with a quote-unquote smaller crew. And Inquisition, on the other hand, kind of expanded the scope significantly, from going from like this hero who's just trying to conquer the Blight and save Ferelden and everything, to this person who has to run an organization, be the head of an organization that has this just network of spies and troops and camps and everything.
Okay.
So the it was just different.
Just a matter of scale.
So you had to, you kind of zoomed out, and instead of getting all these smaller details up close and personal, you were getting details of just 2 countries.
Fair. Okay. All right. That makes sense. Shay, what about you?
Oh, a point.
Okay.
I genuinely thought I had already gone.
All right.
All right. Finally, our big 5-point question. Is it worth the cost?
So again, despite the confusion of what the hell I was saying, this does retail at $19.99 for what is the deluxe edition, at least currently on PlayStation. Steam, I'm not actually 100% sure of, but EA makes everything so much more difficult. There is almost definitely a $19.99 version on Steam as well. So based on that, this is kind of an easy 5. I mean, you can do so much. There's more gameplay here than you can shake a stick at. You can get sucked. I mean, literal hundreds of hours worth of gameplay at your fingertips if this is your kind of thing. So just in terms of scale and the amount that you're given for that $20, I can't not give it 5. Aaron?
Yeah, I was looking up what the retail was on Steam. I know I actually had to repurchase the games on Steam because I lost my Origin account. That's probably why I was coming down so hard on EA.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So I did have to repurchase it, and at the time it was $10 because it was some summer sale or something. But looking at it now, it looks like it's still 75% off, so $10. It looks like the original retail is $40 on Steam. But
for all of them, or for just Inquisition?
For the Game of the Year edition, I don't know if any other version is off.
Oh,
is on
God.
Steam. Excuse me.
Fucking Electronic Arts, you pieces of shit. All right, fuck, you're right. That's fine. But okay, so based on, if we say it's 19, which is for what the consoles are, what do you rate it?
If you can get this game for $19 or less, I would say it is a 4, actually. And that's just because if it is not your cup of tea, it will not be your cup of tea. It's a game that if you're not ready to kind of sink the time into it, take the time to read and experience the world, then you're really not going to like it. But otherwise, it's definitely worth the money.
Okay. So I do have an update now. All of the games are more than fucking $19.99 on Steam. So we're going to base this on console prices. 'Cause yeah, you're right. Inquisition, the only one available seemingly is the Game of the Year edition, which is $40. Dragon Age 2 and Dragon Age Origins are both fucking $30 still.
Yep.
That is wild.
And that is exactly why I waited for a sale for this, because there's no way I'm going to pay full price for a game that came out in 2014.
No, man.
At this point, that's insane.
No, that's fucking Christ. I hate Electronic Arts so much.
Wait, are you guys calling $30 full price for a video game? Isn't Tears of the Kingdom like $70?
Yeah. So
$30. Yeah. I understand. I do kind of get your point of like it would be stupid if they sold this for $70 now, but $30 feels fine for a game that's going to give you like 100 hours worth of content if you play it one time.
Yeah, and now that you say that, I did pay full price for the original game, the full $59.99. I paid full price for every DLC. I sunk money into the microtransactions, and I'm giving this a 4. I don't know. I changed my answer. I'm giving it a 5. It's worth
okay.
money.
There we go.
My guy. Yeah. Believe in your game. The heart of the game.
Shay, where are you at?
Man, I'm gonna give it a 5.
Ooh, rarefied
Yeah,
air.
Oh my god.
Let's go.
Well, so that's
the most worth it game of all time.
That's the thing, is that like
Inquisition.
I'm like, we're like running through this rating scale, and I'm like, I can't give this a 10. I can't. But
And
like,
yet,
I can't find anything in the rating scale. I can't find anything wrong with it. And like, even thinking, you know, man, this is why we have the guests on, right? And like talk about these games, right? Is because like talking this through with Aaron has like made me realize how much more I liked this game. You know, even my like 180 on the fucking Winter Ball, because of how badly I realized I had messed up playing the game already.
Yeah.
Like, it's so, I don't know. It's been such an eye-opening experience for me, I guess.
realistically,
so
this is
cool.
such a good game, and it only comes down to taste. That's it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Aaron said, if this is not your flavor, it's not going to ever be your flavor, but it's fucking really good. It's just a really well-structured, well-thought-out game. Like, I don't know. This is awesome. So that's going to put our final scores for today at 9.5 from me, 9.5 from Aaron, and a full fucking 10 points from Shay.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Yep.
This game slaps ass.
Before we wrap all this up, Aaron, as pretty much an expert on the series, do you think this is something that people should play from the start? Like, we're not going to count this as you know, anything official here, but like, if you have the opportunity, would you play all 3 previous games? Like, would you recommend that to people?
I would recommend it. The only problem is that the other 2 games are really starting to show their age. They're a little bit harder to run on some PCs, and not because like they're graphically intensive or anything. They're just aging.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it is a little difficult. For example, on Dragon Age 1 and 2, they don't come with controller support. So if you need that for accessibility reasons, or you just prefer controller, you're not going to find it there unless you buy it on a console. And I think Dragon Age Origins is still using DirectX 9, which makes it like, if your computer is a little bit newer, it might be tougher to run with, you know, some of the compatibility options. But even then, like, if you can stomach some of the technical problems that you'll most likely hit, it's definitely worth playing through it.
I
start
would
to
be
finish.
genuinely shocked if BioWare doesn't end up releasing the equivalent of the Legendary series for Mass Effect, and just like putting all of this into a bundle, like remastered, reformatted, everything, like at some point.
I would love if they did that, but there was some distance between both the first and the second game, and then the second game in Inquisition, that it doesn't really lend itself as well to that for the Legendary Edition. They're very, very different games, and they play very differently. The first game is so much like a CRPG that it really is a far cry from Inquisition. But that being said, if they ever do that, 100% recommend.
Right on. All right. Well,
The first 2 games are not available on the PlayStation Store.
Yeah.
So
I would think Xbox.
I could look later, but
Yeah.
I have.
and the Steam ones are $30, which
Yeah,
is
yeah, that is.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Even on sale, I'm like, I'm paying what, like $10 for a game that's how old?
Yeah.
Really?
It's
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a freak and I'll buy it, but should anyone else?
yeah, and I think part of that has to do with like when they were launched on Steam, but that's, you know,
Mhm.
a whole nother thing. All right. Well, that is, I think, just because this discussion went so long and I had so many other things, I was not able to prepare a quiz today. So I think that's just.
But that's where I've got you covered, Dan.
Oh,
Do you want to play a game?
I would love to play a game. Kelsey, hit me with a quick board game.
Don't kill the Mothman. I would love to. That's from a game called Horrified, I believe, which is where you... I clearly was high attention during this game. I believe it's called Horrified, where you are folks from a town being set upon by cryptids, and you have to work together to defeat them.
Oh, man.
Okay. Well, today we're going to be playing a game called What's That Church Called?
Oh,
Oh.
fuck.
It's an established trope in video games to be squaring off against some kind of religion, cult, or overzealous collective. So much so that Hard Drive recently published a satirical article about Pope Francis being bummed over how often the church is a villain. Our game today is one such example, with a religious chantry creating your greatest barrier to progress, at least for the first third of the game. While not necessarily villainous, the chantry falls into the trap that many of these orders do. Set up with good or even holy intentions, then ecclesial duties become corrupted by the imperfections of human nature. Today, Aaron and I will be describing some of these organizations, and your job, Dan and Kelsey, will be to tell us what these organizations are called.
Fucking
Fuck me.
Christ.
Please let one of them be the church from Three Houses. I'm begging God right now.
So, starting out with a familiar one, the Seed family, led by Joseph Seed, leads a flock of doomsday preppers in a Montana valley, preaching the end of the world while guiding his siblings in purging the valley of capital S sinners. Although John, Faith, and Jacob Seed are more immediate threats to your character, the deputy, Joseph Seed is the unchallenged leader of what church?
You said starting off with a familiar one?
Well, yeah.
For Dan,
Yeah.
I guess.
Oh, for Dan, thank God. I was like, I don't have a fucking idea.
It's okay.
I will say I talk about this game on this podcast probably every single episode.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's probably like Saints Row or something.
It's from Far Cry 5.
Oh, Far Cry. That was going to be my second guess.
Yeah.
Actually.
So you just have to tell me what's the
All right,
name
Dan,
of Joseph
I'll
Seed's...
sit back and let you take this
Sure.
one, steer it right into the home plate.
Yeah. Okay. So it is. I always forget if it's specifically like just Eden's Gate or Children of Eden, but it's that basically.
What is your final
Oh
answer?
God, you're really gonna. Okay.
Can we get a half point if we just say that?
I have a hint if you'd like
Yeah,
that.
go for it.
Nickname.
Does it have of in it or like?
they're they're the Peggies, so it's Project of Eden's Gate.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dan.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. That's it. Project
Yeah,
at
I-
Eden's
Amazing.
Gate.
I had to, I was trying to like
Very good.
narrow in on what they were calling them because it's been a minute since we played Far Cry 5, or I played Far Cry 5, and yeah, they're the Peggies, right?
Nice.
It has not
Yeah,
been a
that's
minute
true.
since I played.
It may be
Far Cry.
literally a minute since you've been
It's probably been literally
playing
60
this whole
seconds.
time.
Exactly. Clearly the easiest joke in the world
Yeah.
since Dan and I tried to do the exact same thing at the exact
Yeah,
same
Project Eden's Gate. All right, cool.
Love it.
All right.
Good
Good
one.
job.
That
That's
is going to be
point.
the one and only point I get, and I'm thrilled about it.
Woo!
I was genuinely concerned I was going to goose egg this whole thing.
I got the second question. All right. So the Daedra, and other godlike beings of the Elder Scrolls have been guiding and manipulating mortals for thousands of years. Their machinations have spawned a multitude of religions and cults, from the Dark Brotherhood and their ritualistic murders ordered by Sithis and the Night Mother, to the Dunmer's Tribunal Temple and dominating religion of the God Kings of Morrowind. However, few had the impact of one group of worshippers dedicated to the Daedric Prince of Destruction, who nearly succeeded in conquering Tamriel and resulted in the end of the Empire's Septim Dynasty. What is the name of the Daedric cult who carried out the Oblivion Crisis?
I have no earthly idea. It's been like it's been so long since I played Oblivion. Do they reference it in Skyrim? They must.
They do reference it in
Oh,
Skyrim.
yeah.
There is actually
Okay.
a quest in Skyrim related to this cult.
Is it like... No. Why am I even saying anything? I have no fucking idea. I have no... Is it like the cult? Does it have to do with like a hand or an eye or something? I don't know.
You're thinking of like the Dark
trying
Brotherhood
to remember.
stuff, I think.
Oh, maybe. Probably that eyeball with like the teardrop. I
Sauron?
don't
That's
even think
Sauron.
that might even be from Dragon Age.
The only thing that's coming to mind is like
I don't know.
Nirn, and I know that's not the answer because I think that's a place, not an order. I don't have it. Do we have a hint? Is there a hint?
The hint is that it pertains to a time of day. The name has a reference to a
Oh
time of
fuck!
day.
Oh.
It's the Midnight Society.
It's probably one of those like
No wait, that's Our Year for the Dark. Yeah.
the Midnight Club. The like good job. It's probably some cool time of day though, like dawn or like than Dawnbreakers or something.
That is very close, but
Are you serious?
the answer
Oh my
is
God.
the Order of the Mythic Dawn.
Ah,
Oh, well, I got
fuck,
Dawn, so that's okay.
Christ!
Alright. I would never have gotten that in my life.
You almost did.
You actually almost did. I was so
That's a half
surprised.
point.
You can't even believe it.
In
Why would
honor
I
of Kelsey,
ever-
I get
would
a
never
half
have said
point.
Mythic. A half point.
No, I'm kidding.
Sure. I'll give you a half
All
point
right,
for
great.
that one and tuck it right next to
All
the
right.
other points.
Right next to him.
All right. Next, while Lady Dimitrescu has swept the globe as an antagonist in the most recent installment in the Resident Evil franchise, various other organizations have played the villain in the other games in the series. Be it Umbrella Corp, the Third Organization, or Neo Umbrella, most of the action has been driven by the corporate greed of various iterations of Albert Wesker's legacy. But in Resident Evil 4, a different kind of villain was introduced. Kicking things off by kidnapping the daughter of the US president, this Spain-based religious sect plans to use the parasitic Las Plagas to control the US president. But what is the name of this cult?
The cult name. Fuck.
I've actually never been more useless.
Yeah, this is
It's like-
an
is
unmitigated
it like
nightmare.
Fox or something? Is there
I-
like a Fox-related organization in that game? Or something like that?
No, it's right on the tip of my tongue. I remember the English translation
it.
for it, but
Well, what's
it's the
English
enlightened
translation?
ones.
Oh.
Because and this is okay. Full disclosure. I have not played most of 4 because I found it frustratingly difficult on the GameCube, and that was the last time I really picked it up because I am significantly older than you guys.
Aw. Probably not.
We had a GameCube.
Do you know how?
Yeah, we had a GameCube.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
I'm old. Dan, I'm old.
We'll compare notes momentarily, but
Okay.
it's
Dan, you're right. The English translation is the
It's like-
enlightened ones.
I think that's probably
I can
good
give
enough.
I can give you the hint, and maybe that will help trigger your memory.
Would you let me take a stab at it and then give me a hint?
Sure.
Okay, I think it's Los Illuminados, but
Yep.
it is
Swish.
shit.
Yep.
Fuck yeah.
Nice job.
Yeah.
Fuck. Awesome. All right.
Well done.
Got it.
Yeah.
Dan's
yeah.
carrying.
Los Illuminados. Their whole plan is to kidnap the daughter of the U.S. president and use Las Plagas to mind control the president.
That game is. I mean, all of the Resident Evil games are fucking wild, but this one in particular was like the first really hard turn that they made in the series where it's like, what is even fucking happening right now?
Yep. Good
Wait,
job.
I want to
That's
find out
another
why I
point.
thought something Fox related was in this game. So I'm gonna look that up real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna Google Fox Resident Evil.
While you do that, Aaron, you want to ask the next question?
The fourth question here. Final Fantasy has pulled inspiration from religion and mythology from across the world since its first release in 1987. This continued during the release of the award-winning Heavensward expansion of the critically acclaimed MMORPG
Oh, fuck
Final
off.
Fantasy XIV.
Yep.
Fuck off.
Oh no!
Let's
Fuck
move
off.
on. Okay.
Sorry, I don't know who, Grahatia or...
You know
Zelch,
someone's
or
name.
fucking
That's much more than...
Porchafont, all of those bullshit ass... Or Sid, or who...
All right. Well, then, Kelsey, this is going to be... If anybody gets this, it's going to be you.
I'll take... I'm so confident right now that I know.
In it, the titular Heavensward are the 12 knights who serve as the personal guard of Archbishop Thordan VII, who holds the highest seat of political authority in the Holy See. Do you know the name of the religion, which is full of not-so-subtle nods to the Catholic Church?
Kelsey, I've spent precisely 0 seconds playing any of the Final Fantasy MMORPGs, so I have literally nothing. I couldn't even remotely start to guess.
Oh my god. I know your character is called, Warrior of Light. Something to do with that.
If it helps, we got a real
Does
softball
it have-
question for you. So
Does it have to do with Emmett Selch or any of those people
No.
that I know the names of? Okay.
I can give a hint.
Okay, sure.
The religion is based in Ishgard, and its name follows another similar Christian religion.
Similar to Ishgard?
No, the name
it's
is
like
similar
the
to
name is
another
similar.
Christian religion.
Like what, Presbyterian?
Okay, because there's just
Feels
zero
like-
chance.
Lutheran?
Yeah, if there's no hope.
Well, what?
the
Wait.
answer-
Before you do that,
Wait.
hold on.
Wait,
I'm trying
wait.
to. I'm trying to give Kelsey the best possible chance at doing this because again, I'm useless here.
I'm gonna cry.
What
my
can
God.
you give me the specific Christian faith that it's similar in name to, and see if that jogs Kelsey's memory? Like this is, I'm asking a lot, and I know
There's
that.
no,
Yeah, no,
there's no
I think
memory to
that's-
jog. There's actually no
think
memory
that's
to
too
jog.
Yeah, I think it
Yeah.
would be guessing.
All right, fair enough.
Okay, so it's a Christian. Hold on, it's a Christian religion
Mm-hmm.
that it's the name is similar to it, or is it the same as the Christian religion? I don't think I picked up.
I think
on
it's just
that
similar.
Exactly. Is it similar? Okay. The guy's name, or it was like Ishgard. That was the name of the city.
All right, let's
or
move
something.
on.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
no.
the answer is the Ishgardian
So, like,
Orthodox
Anglican or
Church.
Ah, well,
What in the fuck? Orthodox is just a word. That's not similar to a
Yeah,
religion.
Well, I would
Russian
say
No,
Orthodox
like similar to
Church,
Eastern
Greek
Orthodox.
Orthodox
Russian
Church,
Orthodox,
Eastern
Greek
Orthodox
Orthodox.
Church.
Like Orthodox
That's a good
is just
hint.
a word.
yeah, no. I see what.
Whatever.
I didn't want to give it away completely, but
That's fine.
I probably
Well,
should
there is-
have.
No. You're good.
Well, it's fine. It's fine.
I
All right.
the MMORPGs are
All right,
such a blind
so
spot
what,
for me.
2 points?
2.5.
out of 4?
Yeah, 2.5.
2.5.
They're all on the shelf together. All right.
All
Number
right.
5.
Got it. Oh, this is
Yeah.
there's more.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't realize.
Potentially another familiar one. Fallout 3 contains one of the more unique religious groups in the span of video game history. Worshipping a god called Megaton, their beliefs combine the hope for death and the appreciation of its continued delay. Do you know what this religious organization is called?
Yeah, that's the Children of Adam.
Yeah, yes, it is. Did you have
Yeah.
something else you wanted to add? Did you want to tack
No,
something
no,
on
I-
to the name?
No,
That's what it is.
you made me panic because I was so confident. I was like, there's no other added things because like initially I was like Brotherhood of Steel is probably going to be the thing because that's almost religious in a weird sort of way. But then you said Megaton, I'm like, oh, okay, Children of Adam, got it. But like,
Yeah.
okay, fuck me. That's also the name of of an X-Men fighting game. So I was like, please tell me I didn't have that wire crossed somewhere. Fuck.
Yeah, that's the Church of the Children
Nice,
of the
good
Atom
one.
who
Okay.
built their town and their religion around a nuclear bomb
Oppenheim
that didn't
heads.
go off.
Is that why there was a
Oppenheimer
pause because I didn't say
Let's
Church
go.
of the Children of the Atom? Because that's
No,
reasonable.
because you said right after, like you were gonna keep going.
Okay. Well, fuck. All right.
Yeah, nice job.
Oh boy.
Bonus question here, though.
3.5.
Bonus question.
Yeah.
Yeah, real
Oh.
quick bonus question. Since the 90s, Fire Emblem, the Fire
Oh,
Emblem
come on,
series
Kelsey.
has also had various nods
No, I have only played one of these games, and I'm sure the church is the enemy of the religion, so I
to
don't
religion.
know.
This continued in the most recent releases of the series. Fire Emblem Three Houses and its sequel, Three Hopes, were a
How
dogmatic.
fucking low? How low on your radar is Engage that those are the two most recent releases in the series?
I said the more recent releases of the series. Thank you
said
very
them-
much.
All right, okay.
Where a dogmatic religion based out of Garrigmach monasteries stands physically and ideologically at the center of major conflicts that beset the fictional country of Fodlan. Though more commonly known by the split branches governing smaller regions, this religion goes by
That's true.
what name?
He threw dogmatic in there for me. That one was for me because that's a editorial statement. He spent enough time listening to me be like, Edelgard was right. That he's doing that one for me.
Actually, I took that from the wiki. Oddly
Oh.
enough, 'cause I was
Oh,
trying to
get
word.
out!
I was trying to word
Yeah,
it
that's
for
where-
this question right, and I took that from the wiki.
That's
Hell
where Kelsey
yeah.
got it
Okay,
from
so
too.
they said-
She wrote the wiki.
Yes, I wrote the wiki. Yeah. Honestly, I'm close to that point of my dedication to Edelgard's choice in the game. The main religion is called the Church of Saros.
Yes.
That is
Thank
correct.
you, Kelsey.
Full point.
Woo! Which makes no sense, by the way, because Saros is just a saint, and Sothis is the goddess. But whatever, it's fine. It'd be like if Catholicism was called Mary or something. It doesn't make any sense. Well, it does.
All right.
Okay,
So
fine.
good job. That's,
I was gonna say it's Christianity, so like,
good job. That's 4 points added
Wow.
to the big board. Or the
Woo!
sorry, yes.
Nice.
4 points on the board
4.5.
and then 1 point on the shelf.
Okay.
I'm adding to the document shelf points right now.
Excellent.
1/2.
If I get a half point,
Love it.
I do expect to be able to put those together at some point
Oh yeah. It
in
moves to
6
the
months
board.
when I get to do another quiz.
6 months?
I'm
I feel like
kidding.
I did another quiz not too long ago.
It was pretty recent, yeah. But we also only do this bi-monthly, so
True.
awesome. I genuinely so super worried. I also kind of expected like the Templars to come up at some point, which would have been probably too soft of a softball.
Yeah, that'll be your
Can we-
easy one on the
wait, who did
next
you-
edition of this quiz that I
Oh
do.
no, we're not doing this one again, are we?
If you
Religion
keep
round
making me do
2.
actually, I'm going to do this quiz again.
Actually is really good and everybody loves it. I don't know what you're talking about.
I like that format actually because it feels
Thank
a little easy.
you,
Actually,
Kelsey.
I like that format a little better because it's usually easier to guess where something feels off.
Straight
in
up,
that
I just
format
paid
than
the
it is to
$5
just-
a month to get Dropout extension on YouTube so that I could watch more actually.
Dan,
So,
I swear
thank
to
you.
God, get us out
Nice.
of this episode.
All right, great. Thank you so much for being here, you guys. Aaron, it was an absolute pleasure to meet you, finally, at least through the internet. Is there anywhere you would want people to follow you? Do you do any streaming, Aaron, or anything like that?
I stream very rarely, and maybe I'll pick it up again someday. But you can find me on Twitter.
That's right.
Exactly.
Twitter.
Yes,
That's right.
Political statement.
You can find me on Twitter at @ASantaA. That is A Santa like Santa Claus. A. It's private, so yeah, you got a request, but hey, maybe I'll look at it.
Make
in
the girls
next
line
few
up at
months.
the door. Come on. Come on.
Kelsey, where can people find you?
You can follow me on Twitter while this fucking site lasts at loafboyl0afboi. That's also, I think, my Instagram handle, which I just realized is probably really confusing to like our cousins and stuff who I'm mutuals with.
You're just realizing that?
Yeah. I know. I just was thinking now, I'm like, oh my god, like last time I liked a picture of like baby or something. She was probably like, who the fuck is this? Yeah, you can follow me at loafboy on those.
Now that you're doing another playthrough of Ace Attorney, are you going to resurrect your streaming career, Kelsey?
You know what? There's no more boring game to stream than Ace Attorney, to be honest.
It's
with
not
you.
about the game. It's
Yeah,
entirely
it's the
your
content.
personality that is
We're there for the
like,
content.
like realistically.
I don't think you want to hear me like the things that I say to my television while I'm playing this game are like
That's
unhinged.
exactly
So-
why people.
Yeah, they are. I get the full unfiltered experience, and they are a little bit, but at the same time, it is so entertaining.
All right, Kelsey,
Oh my
in
God,
the off
yeah.
chance that you do start streaming again,
If I do, you can find me on Twitch at Loafboy also.
Okay. So
Uh,
good.
That tells you how often I stream. I did not know what my
That was
app
incredible. All right. As for us, as always, you can follow us on both Twitter and Instagram at BNGPod, where we post custom artwork for every episode, as well as sales that you should be aware of that we call cheap codes.
if you want to share the show, you can do so with our hosting site, which is anchor.fm/bngpod. And if you want to follow us on Twitch, you could do so at twitch.tv/bngpodcast. Yesterday, I streamed myself playing most of the Winter Ball, so if you would like to hear my unfiltered thoughts
You
about
put that out in public? Oh my god. I would have been scared to death. Even just watching Aaron play it, I was like, I'm gonna cry.
But yeah, if you want to, you can
Oh.
catch that VOD, I guess.
And if you want to send us an email for any reason, you can do so at brokeandgamingpod@gmail.com, where we take game suggestions, any criticisms that you have, or you can tell me how bad I am at the concept of Dragon Age if you really feel like it. Also, suggest me more crimes. I said that last time, or one of the last times. We haven't promoted any crimes recently, and I would like to get back into that. I haven't promoted any
Let's
crimes
get some
recently.
more public execution calls going. Come on.
Kelsey, suggest me a crime real quick.
Fucking, who was I just saying should be publicly?
Nope, never mind. All right. Hey, Shay.
Low stakes. Low stakes. stakes crimes.
I knew what I was doing.
I don't know.
All right, Shay, what are we playing next time?
Next time, Dan, we'll be continuing our AAA summer with part 4, where we will be talking about Payday 2. So make sure you tune in for that.
I have never played a Payday game. This is going to be very exciting, and I am looking forward to talking about it. But until then, goodbye, absolutely everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
He's so funny. I think he's hilarious. When I saw that he was the most like fucked character in the game, I was like, "There's no way." But then as we got like more experience with him, I was like, "There's no like this guy's hilarious." Like, why wouldn't you fuck him? I don't know.
Okay.
But anyway,
absolutely.
She let me hit because I'm goofy is the fucking thesis of his character.
God.
Oh man. I'm so glad I asked you that specifically to set you up for that.